Well, hello and welcome to this week's Real Love Revolution video that I'm going to start with a question. Have you ever found yourself, if you're single, saying, I'll date when I lose those last 10 pounds, or I'll date once I'm in better shape, or I'll date once I'm finished getting my Ph.D.? Have you ever found yourself saying that? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Terri Cole. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, a relationship expert, and the founder of Boundary Boot Camp and the upcoming Real Love Revolution. So, this entire video is going to be about the 3 top lies that you might be telling yourself that are keeping you single or getting in the way of you finding your soulmate. So, the first one is it's too late for me. Have you ever said that? If you're past the age of, 25, 30, what I find in my practice, I have very high functioning women in my practice, that they have a timeline of the way their life is supposed to be playing out, when they're going to finish grad school, when they're going to have children, when they're going to get married. And I actually had someone like this in my practice, and she had come to see me, and she told me her whole story, what was going on. She was really stressed out because her baby sister was getting married. She was the oldest in a family of 4 sisters. And she didn't tell me that's what was stressing her out. That just is what she was talking about in the midst of giving me a reason of why she was coming. And then she declares, well, I'm fine with never getting married. Like that ship sailed for me. And I said, well, if you're fine with it, then, what are you doing here? And she said, I have shingles, which is this autoimmune response to massive amounts of stress. And I said, well, why do you have shingles? And she said, oh, I don't know, I'm under a lot of stress at work, and right now I'm applying to get my 2nd graduate degree. And I was like, why would you be doing that, is what I was thinking. She already had a massive job. So, and she declared that she was fine with never getting married because that ship had sailed. So, obviously, we start doing some work on what this is about. And you guys, when we have very common lies that we can tell ourselves. Why would we do this? Right? Let's get into the psychology before I finish the story about her. Why would we do this? There is what's called secondary gain, which means unobvious, non-obvious benefits to staying stuck, to not changing your situation. So if I would never have confronted this person right away and said, so what are you getting out of declaring that you never need to get married? But I knew that there must be something. So as her story starts unfolding in our sessions together, I realized she's the type A, super high functioning perfectionist. So what ended up happening for her is that when she couldn't master the whole love thing, and then insult to injury, her baby sister is getting married before her, she just decided that it would be easier for her to just say she didn't want it. So what is the secondary gain in that situation? Well, she was able to not feel vulnerable and to not feel like she didn't know what to do. So someone who is very masterful, especially these high-functioning women in my practice, it's really hard to say, I need help. I don't know how to do this. It's not working the way that I'm doing it. So over time, after, she was able to see what I was saying to her, and that we established between us that clearly she wasn't fine, that she was never getting married, and it didn't make her feel good that the ship had sailed, quote unquote. And really it only sailed because she had decided that it had sailed. She was 30 years old. And I said to her, she's like, I just feel like such a loser. This is just horrible. And I said to her, well, I didn't get married until I was 35. Do you think I'm a loser? She's like, no, but that's different for you. But I wanted to just give her context of it's all what you think it is in your mind. So I asked her if she would be willing to throw out her timeline, the one that she had already missed, the one that she had already failed on, quote unquote, in her mind, and we could actually have a more organic experience. Would she be willing to learn some of the unconscious material that I knew was holding her back? And she said that she was. So as she got out of this very polarized position with herself and needing to declare that it would never happen, she was more and more comfortable, the healthier she got, with being vulnerable and basically not knowing. I was like, hey, you can work on your life, right? You can do things that you want to do. P.S. She decided not to get that second advanced degree once we revealed all of this. I was like, do you really need another advanced degree? Or is this just another way of distracting you from this whole failure at finding the one thing? You know, and she was like, okay, yeah, I definitely don't need it, because she didn't really even need it for the work that she was doing. So once she got into this space of more self-awareness, self-knowledge, right? Having self-compassion, stop being so hard on yourself, I was saying to her. And she really moved into this place of self-love and feeling good about herself, not just about her achievements, which is what had been happening. She actually met the person that she married in her dental office waiting room, true story, and she is pregnant with her first child right now, and she is super happy. So that is the first lie, which is that the ship has sailed. So if this resonates with you, I want you to think about the story that I just told you and the different things that you could do to reframe this black and white thinking that you might have going on in your mind. The second lie that we tell ourselves is that all the good ones are gone, right? There's no more. Especially women in New York have a tendency to be like, even though there's a million people here, there's no good guys. They're all taken, or they're all gay. That's like the favorite, New York thing to say. Now, have you ever uttered these words? Have you ever said all the good ones are taken? Because I have to tell you, in my practice with women, it's a very common lie that we tell ourselves. And again, if we were to look at what is the secondary gain of telling yourself that all the good ones are taken, well, then you don't have to put yourself out there, right? If you've already determined that your person isn't out there because of all the zillions of people out there, all of the good ones are already taken or married or whatever it is, well, then that doesn't require you to take action that maybe you feel uncomfortable taking. And it will leave you sitting on your couch, Netflix and chilling with your kitty cat, perhaps, which you don't want to be doing. So once we identify, and you guys think about it for yourself, if this is true, if you've ever said all the good ones are taken, think about what is your gain from that. Do you get to just not be vulnerable? Do you get to tell people you're not dating right now because you're doing something else? What is the gain for you emotionally? And again, remember, secondary gain is not obvious, because all of these places where we're stuck, we don't want to be stuck in real life. We don't want to be stuck. You don't want to feel like that's true. But it's sort of a way of throwing in the towel around the dating scene and sort of letting yourself off the hook from having to deal with it. So I'm going to ask you if you could possibly reframe this, again, very black and white thinking around relationships and change it to the fact that the truth is you only need one right person for you, right? If you live in New York, you don't need 2.2 million single, amazing, evolved men. You kind of just need one who's your right and perfect fit. And, personally, I believe that all of us could have more than one soulmate. I really don't think that we're destined just for one person. But let's just say, as we're changing your mindset on this, that we're going to reframe that to, I only need one. I only need to meet my right and perfect person. And as I like to say about Vic and myself, is that, hey, I never say that Vic is perfect. I only say he's perfect for me, because I believe that that is true. So if the second big fat lie you tell yourself is that all the good ones are taken, that is a load of crap, and that is your reframe. But again, you guys, on all of these, you have to understand, what is your emotional secondary gain? What do you get to avoid? What do you get to not feel, not think, and not experience by believing this lie? So if you can frame it that way, it will help you find, because each of us, we're so different, right? We're all incredibly unique individuals. So what is one person's secondary gain is not someone else's, right? And the third and last big fat lie that might be keeping you single is, I'll date when. Be honest, have you ever said, I'll start dating again when I lose the last 10 pounds, I finish grad school, as I said at the top, when I move, when I get a better apartment, when I'm in better shape, when I have more money, when I feel more accomplished? Okay, you guys, that is a super common one that I see in my practice. And the bottom line is, first of all, the only moment that any of us are guaranteed is this one that's happening right now, you and me, the one that's happening right now. So everything that we push off to the future and say, I'm going to do that later, we don't even know that later's coming. So it's not about perfection in the dating scene. But again, let's go to what is your secondary gain for saying that you will get back in the dating saddle when you lose those 10 pounds. Your gain is you don't have to be vulnerable. Again, there's certainly that gain is a through line throughout these 3 top lies that we tell ourselves. But yours is probably very personal. So think about it. What is it? You get to stay comfortable, right? You get to, it's like we're fooling ourselves though, that I'm really going to do it. I used to do this just around losing the last 10 pounds, right? I was already married, but I would say, okay, but as soon as the holidays are over, I'm gonna crack down. I'm gonna do it. And what was my secondary gain? Oh, I could still sit there kind of stuffing my pie hole, being like, but making myself feel better. It's like appeasing the part of me that knew I wasn't doing the right thing for my health and for how I wanted to feel. But I'm like, yeah, it's like quitting smoking, right? I'm going to quit smoking when I'm done with finals, when you're in college. Or I'm going to quit smoking when, whatever. That's less common today because less people smoke. But you understand what I'm saying about the mindset of we're giving ourselves a pass, even though the thing that we want, and for you, if that's revolutionary romantic love in your life, is on the other side of not giving yourself that pass, right? You're doing yourself a disservice by believing that load of crap that you're telling yourself, like, I'm going to do it later. And again, it quote unquote buys you time, but it doesn't really, right? Because time is just ticking. Time waits for no woman, no man, nobody. It just keeps going. So how long? I mean, I know people who have said this for years and years and years, and not just about dating, but they always had a reason. They just needed to get through this. So I had a friend who was an accountant. She was just going to get through tax season. I feel like she was always saying that because every year tax season seems to start earlier and earlier. And she's like, yeah, but it's my busy time. I'm like, babe, people have jobs and are in relationships as well. It really isn't an either or proposition, but you have to decide and look at what lie are you telling yourself about I'll start dating when. And I want to inspire you guys. This is sort of like the perfect time right now to be doing this, because right now is Real Love Revolution season, and we are starting our free Raise Your Love Vibe Challenge, all for the ladies, sorry gentlemen, and then I'm following that up with masterclasses for you. Free training on how to up-level the love in your life, how to attract the love that you want. Because you guys have to remember, all of what I shared with you in this video today is based on the fact that we're all energy. So you have energy that comes out of you, right? Like these little beams that they have hooks on the end, and they hook back like experiences, like feelings. So if you're putting out there this ambivalent, I'll start dating when, you'll get back ambivalent results. So please, I want all of you to join me. There's links right here for our Raise Your Love Vibe Challenge, where you're going to learn so much about the unconscious material, which is a lot of what was in this video today, that may be stopping you from attracting the love that you're seeking. And for those of you in relationship, for those mamas who are partnered and sort of thinking, is this all there is? The Love Vibe Challenge will really help you sort of either boost your relationship or decide that maybe it's not the right one for you. And that's what the master classes are focusing on as well, raising your own awareness. So if you liked this Real Love Revolution video, please share it on all of your social media channels. I cannot wait to see you guys in the Raise Your Love Vibe Challenge and in the masterclasses. Have an amazing week prepping to really learn something. And as always, take care of you.